Welcome to COTE 2016. A special welcome to our honoree, Mr. Martin Franklin. Before we jump into the day's proceedings, we're going to have a short announcement of a procedure in case there's an emergency. Please bear with me for about a minute for this announcement.
The University of the West Indies places extreme importance on the maintenance of your health and safety. Please give me your attention for a few moments as I outline the emergency procedures to be followed at today's event. This building is equipped with a fire alarm system, and in the event of an emergency, the alarm will sound. Please note that we have no planned drills for today, so if the alarm sounds, we will treat it as an indication of a real emergency. Once the alarm has sounded, calmly make your way through one of the exits. This auditorium has 4 exits directly to the back, and 2 emergency exits at the front of the auditorium to the left and right. Once outside the building, make your way to the assembly area, which is to the north of the building. Stay at the assembly area where you will receive further directions from university personnel. In the event of an earthquake, stay calm. There are no tables under which we can cover and hold, but you must beware of falling debris. Once the shaking stops, exit the building in a calm and orderly manner and assemble at the assembly area where you will receive further instructions from a university personnel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Announcer. Miss or Mrs. Announcer. Our session this morning is entitled Trade and Development. We have 3 presenters, and they will present in the order in which they are seated. Our first presenter is Mrs. Mary King, and she will speak on the management of the diversification of TNT's economy in the context of innovation in the ensuing industrial revolution. Interesting topic, and I'm looking forward to the discussion on this topic. Presenters, please, you have 12 minutes within which to present, and we are asking you to keep within that time frame so that we can have lots of discussions at the end. Thank you. It's over to you now, Mrs. Mary King.
Morning, everybody. It's nice to be here. I think it's a long time since I spoke to the economists, and it's great after I graduated here 40 years ago. Management of diversification and innovation in the 4th Industrial Revolution. Now, there's a full paper on this, but as we were given 10 or 11, 12 minutes now, you can get the full paper, but I've obviously slashed it so we could fit the time. The authors here have worked together for many years on innovation, presented it to the university, and they also supported me in a series of panchayats, which I ran across the country to introduce the Innovation Diamond back in 2010, 2011. So, the quote you are seeing is from Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. He introduced the 4th Industrial Revolution, its scale and complexity, and it's really unlike anything we've ever witnessed before. So we feel that our engineers and our entrepreneurs both have to initiate this revolution locally, and they must be responsible for producing the products and services that will benefit Trinidad and Tobago overall. Economic development. What is it? I think it's insufficient for us to make our way in the global economy simply by copying products that are already on the market, especially if we are going to be competing with others and they are seeking differentiation and product novelty. Therefore, we also know we must export, as we're a very small, open economy, and we can't produce everything that we require locally. Let us talk about this industrial revolution. We've gone through 3 already. The first revolution used water and steam to mechanize production and the improved national connectivity by roads and bridges and railways, etc. So they used water to produce steam power. The second revolution, wherein automation allowed mass production and fostered efficient, productive connectivity using the division of labor. And am I feeling an earthquake? I thought so. The third is driven by electronics and the digital technologies and introduce more sophisticated automation, increasing connectivity between humanity and the rest of the world, the natural world. So those are the first 3 industrial revolutions that we have gone through. And the fourth, we're here now at the 4th industrial revolution. The 4th industrial revolution is building on the 3rd, and this has really been occurring since probably the middle of the last century. This has been driven by massive automation, cheap sensors, connectivity, especially via the internet, and through wider implementation of intelligent systems, which is now known as artificial intelligence. So here we have the robots, immense control and automation. This is the Atlas robot of Google, developed in Boston Dynamics. Robot can be programmed to do certain tasks. This slide actually shows the resilience of the robot in doing its task, and even when it is disturbed, it tries over and over to complete its instructions. It has artificial intelligence embedded in its instruction, and therefore it allows it to learn as it proceeds. Another Atlas robot, which we have become familiar with, those of us who watch the television programs Horizon, etc. So the artificial intelligence is in particular deep learning allows these robots to use their stored experiences to operate optimally in circumstances that were not even imagined by some of their programmers. And control and automation in manufacturing. This is the factory of the future, where cars are being assembled, this particular one, cars are being assembled at the various bays without the inputs of any humans. So these are factories that we will be competing with. And we have to understand this is now life. This is now the present situation. So how will this revolution affect all of us? The polarization of labor into the low-skilled jobs, these will eventually be automated, and the same spreading to the middle-class jobs, and therefore this revolution can yield great inequality, particularly in its potential to disrupt our labor markets. Very important point for us. This automation, as it substitutes for labor across the entire country, can exacerbate the gap between the returns to capital and the returns to labor. Yet it's also possible, and this is why we're bringing this paper here, it's also possible with the creation of a more highly skilled workforce, this displacement might result in a net increase in safe and rewarding jobs. This is where we have to start to plan. Economies that are flexible, the global impact of this revolution, economies that are flexible and focused on education, on research and development, on good infrastructure, and legal systems will obviously benefit from the revolution. We know that the developed countries will most likely be the winners at this stage. The developing countries will face greater challenges as their abundance of low-skilled labor will no longer be any advantage to us. This will become a headwind restraining our development. The limited infrastructure of the developing countries will not allow them to reap the full benefits of this extreme connectivity. So, what do we have to do? The demand on our entrepreneurs and engineers. The massive interconnectivity of billions of people across the world, connected by mobile devices, which have unprecedented power and unprecedented access to knowledge, is the basis for this fourth industrial revolution. These assets will be enhanced by the emerging technologies of the artificial intelligence, the robots, the Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles. We're looking at 3D printing, which is known as additive manufacturing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, gene editing, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. This is the demand being put on us and our entrepreneurs and our engineers at this stage. Now, we also know that the world itself is on the verge of a paradigm shift. There are serious problems. We have climate change, we have global warming, sea level rising, shortage of potable water, shortages of food, together with increasing demand for both population growth and improving tastes, and therefore there's a need for the creation of a higher skilled population, the need to transform energy use away from fossil fuels. All of this present opportunities for us to use, to use the emerging tools of this fourth revolution in all our solutions. Now, we know also we're a small economy. We cannot produce all that we need to live in Trinidad and Tobago. Hence, we have to participate in global trade, and we have to export goods and services that will be competitive across the globe. Also, the fourth industrial revolution will demand of us high skills, and these will be highly paid segments of the market. They will be better paid than even capital, and they will be critical to our success. We have to get above the general basic education. We're demanding high skills that will create the new products and services that are needed for us to be competitive and to export. And when we look at this, the largest beneficiaries of innovation will be the providers of this intellectual and physical capital, the innovators, the shareholders, and the investors who get involved in this fourth industrial revolution. Did I miss a slide? Sorry about that. So I just said, flexibility. To get any of this done, it will be necessary to train the highly skilled staff and offer such training and demonstrations to consulting facilities so that we support the existing and the potential manufacturers. There are things happening now in the world today that even the existing manufacturers can benefit from, given the new technologies. We're recommending that government provides a center of excellence in advanced manufacturing. This is surely a way to develop quickly globally competitive ideas via the business process innovation. And I'm saying in the short term, innovative products and services can jumpstart our global export thrust. It's really about new business and innovation, using the new technologies where novelty innovation is the application that either does existing things more efficiently or effectively or does new things altogether. The fourth revolution is really about these kinds of technologies which are having a major impact on global business. The results can be quick, and we can therefore respond more quickly to the loss of foreign exchange by generating these new export companies. I'm skipping a few because, as I said, we had to slash the paper. So let us go down to the emerging technologies and what we have been able to do in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the authors of the paper, Dr. Defoe, after some years of research, Dr. Ronald Defoe, he's in engineering faculty, was able to patent a new method to control brushless DC motors, substantially improves their performance. These motors are at present being used, for example, in inverter air conditioners. The control methods are ancient in those systems, and the Defoe method could indeed improve and even further performance. This control technology is an emerging disruptive one which can be applied in other innovative applications, more so in quick commercial wins, and one of the most obvious ones where it can be utilized today is in transportation systems. We also have the G-PAN and the PHY, developed right here, patented right here. G-PAN and the PHY, two other patents were won. Another colleague, I have 1 minute left. You see the problem? Again, because of the lack of an innovation system, these patents have not been exploited, though the potential for both have been demonstrated. So we're just showing you the G-PAN, a beautiful instrument, innovation, and the PHY. What could be more beautiful than that? Developed right here in Trinidad and Tobago and allows, it looks like a pan, but it is indeed a beautiful instrument and allows you to play any subject, any tone under the sun. Another one of our authors, Professor King, spun out an SME into the local private sector, and to date that company has its own copyrighted systems installed in energy sector, the power sector, and telecommunication utilities. Problem again, lack of risk funding, and the growth of the company has been constrained since it tries to innovate on its cash flow. The recommendation for this paper is that we develop the National Innovation System using the triple helix model by Eckowitz and Ladesdorff in the basis of the innovation system recommended by the authors. It's an integration of three players: private sector, research institutions, and of course the government. And we called it the Innovation Diamond. First, the private sector country finance is risk averse. So we are saying the government has to assume the role of financier, venture capitalist of last resort. The government will recoup its investments, which can be financed in the first instance by bonds, even the heritage part of the Heritage Stabilization Fund, and can recoup its investment on the sale of the successful companies through IPOs on the stock market. So this is just to give you an idea of the institutions that have to be established: finance, grant, venture capital units, learning R&D systems, a test market for market intelligence, and out of all of this comes the entrepreneurs and the SMEs, and of course they need organizations to support them. And maybe in time we can adjust our thinking, and we can also get involved in the fourth industrial revolution. I thank you.